Hi there guys and gals, welcome back to the channel, and in this video today it was intended to be a video all about my mk3 Cavalier SRI, the X-Max power car. As you will find watching the video, I went off on a bit of a tangent and it ended up being something quite a bit different. So stick around and watch it and you'll see what I mean. Alright guys, enjoy the video. It's now December. It's December 2024. And it gets to this time of year and I start to reflect and look back on the year. And I think to myself, what is next year going to bring? You know, we're a few weeks off. I mean, today is December the 6th, 2024 as I record this. So just look at my calendar. Yeah, Friday the 6th of December, 2024. And I think to myself, come February 2025, I will have had, for example, my mk3 Cavalier for a full year. And I think to myself, what have I actually done to that car in that time? You know, I bought that car because it's a charisma car with a Jamie Show trimmed leather interior and stereo system and everything that he did. And it was in Max Power, it was in Fast Car magazine back in the day. And it's a well-known car. I mean, I went to the Max Power reunion show last year and I would try to go in and line up and find out where I was going to be put. And this one marshal, he phoned through to one of the other guys saying, oh, we've got the Charisma Cavalier here. We've got the Charisma Cavalier here. Where shall we put it? And this guy, he just knew by seeing the car that it was the Charisma Cavalier. And I was sat there in the driver's seat like, that's cool. That's cool that the marshal of the show knows the car. He knows the car from back in the day. I mean, the guy who built it, really nice guy called Nicky. I'm friends with him on Facebook and everything. I'm trying to keep him in the loop with what I'm doing with the car. He built it. He did all the putting the money in and getting the work done on it and everything. So I can't claim the glory for any of it. The only glory I can claim is getting it restored back to its former glory. So that's my mission, and that's why I bought it. Because he put it up for sale basically because he wanted to raise some funds to put into his American muscle cars. He's got a Corvette and he's got a Mustang, and he likes his American muscle cars these days. But he'd still got his Cavalier because he'd had his Cavalier since he was a teenager, you know. So he'd had it a long time. I mean, Nick is a similar age to me. I think he's about a year or two younger than me. He's about 44, 45. And he'd had it since he was a teenager. So he loved that car and he really did not want to sell it. But it was getting to the stage, it was going to start needing bodywork, bit of welding, new back arches, all these bits I'll go through when I'm showing you around the car, which is what this video is all about, is me showing you around this car. And he didn't want to start throwing loads of money at it because he'd kind of lost the passion for that side of things. He still loved the car, but he wanted to invest his money into his American muscle cars because that's where his passion lies these days. So he put it up for sale, and I was worried when I saw it up for sale that somebody would buy it and strip it and it would lose that bit of history that we as a car people, the car scene would lose a little bit of motoring history because somebody might buy it, they might strip it, they might put it back as a standard SRI, you know, because SRI values have gone up now, or they might, you know, some idiot might buy it who's going to race it and crash it and it gets written off. And, you know, I had all sorts of things in my mind, and I thought to myself, you know what, me being mad on Vauxhall like I am, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it, and I'm not going to modify it to the way that I want it modifying. I'm going to redo it the way that Nicky had done it and get it back to its former glory, get the welding done, get the rust repairs done, get the paintwork redone, and maybe, just maybe, continue where he left off. Because one thing he always intended to do was fit a turbo. He always wanted to put a let in it. But he got in a relationship with a girl, and a lot of us guys know the story of what happens. You get in a relationship, your money starts going on relationship things, and you don't have as much money to put into your cars. It's a familiar story that most of us car guys will be well aware of and very familiar of. So he didn't put the money into the car anymore. He's still left it with the original 2 litre 8 valve, and that's the way that it is still today. It's still got the original 2 litre 8 valve. And then it was off the road for many years. It was off the road for many, many years. And then he got it re-MOT'd a couple of years ago, got it back on the road. And then I bought it, like I said, February, earlier this year, 2024. February the 16th, 2024, to be exact, I bought it. And I took it to the Max Power reunion, as I've already said, and I drove it quite a lot through the summer, and I really loved it. The MOT ran out in August, and I knew it were going to need a few bits doing for the MOT, so rather than trying to rush it through an MOT in August, winter was on its way. I decided to park it up on the drive, put it on Sown, and that's where it sits. And it's sat on the drive since. I've gone out and I've started it up and I've run the engine and I've kept it running. And I might actually do that on this video today. I might chuck the battery on. Well, I need to put the battery on anyway to be able to get in the thing because, well, you'll see. It's got no door handles, basically. It's got no door handles and it has electronic poppers to open the doors and open the boot. The only thing is, the only door which does actually pop is the driver's door. The passenger door doesn't currently pop because there's a problem with either the power feed or the earth. The solenoid itself does work, but it don't work on the remote key like it should because it's not getting power to it for some reason. So that's something I've got to investigate. So currently I have to connect the battery, I have to pop the boot, open the boot, and then I've got a bit of string. This was Nicky who actually did this as a way of getting in. Bit of string that goes to the rear door handle that you then pull to open the rear door, to then go in through the rear door and lean round and pull open the front passenger door. It's a complete faff. Now, I did, one of the first jobs I did, which I've never put a video on YouTube about it, but one of the first things I did on the car was getting the driver's door solenoid working. And I will upload that video at some point very, very soon, because it's like an incomplete video basically. I started recording little bits and then I never edited the little bits together and never actually made a complete video to upload to YouTube. So that will come. So yeah, I did that so that the car was usable and practical, so that I could actually walk up to the car, press the button, driver's door would pop open, I could get in and drive it. And that's what I did. That was one of the first jobs I did back in about March, not long after I bought the car. And then I like I say, I used it for a few months through the summer. I didn't do any videos for YouTube, which I really do wish I had done. But at the time, I was in a relationship myself and I was spending all my time with my partner and didn't have much time to do these videos. But now I'm single, as I have already mentioned in previous videos. I'm able to spend more time doing these videos and getting content onto the channel. I'm really actually trying to build the channel. I want to get to that magic 1,000 subs. I want to get to 1,000 subs, 1,500 subs, 2,000 subs, 10,000 subs. You know, I'd love to really build a channel and spend time making this my full-time job. I'd love that. I'd love to be one of these proper YouTubers who spend their time making brilliant content that people love to watch. The problem is it's a little bit limited working with old Vauxhalls and nothing but old Vauxhalls, because it's a bit of a niche market. You know, the Vauxhall scene is big. You know, there's thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of Vauxhall fans who go to the VBOA every year, and Voxfest and PVS and whatever other shows have been out there and done over the years. You know, there's a lot of Vauxhall fans, but it's still kind of a niche market. So I would love to get something different other than Vauxhall. There is actually one car on my radar, one particular car that is on my radar, and it's a car I've wanted since I was a teenager. And this particular make and model of car is a classic. It's a classic in the making, and at the moment the particular model of car that I want is not at rock bottom. Prices are coming back up from where they were maybe 4 or 5 years ago. They have come up in value, and they are continuing to rise, but it's rising quite slowly, and they're still available for an affordable price. And I want to try and get one now while they are still affordable, because the best examples are double the price. The entry level ones are affordable, and I want to try and get one. I'm not going to give any hints other than the engine. It's V8 powered. Yes, guys, I am on the hunt for one of these particular cars which has a V8 in it. And as a car fan, a petrol head, I think you've got to at least some point in your life own at least one V8. It's the ultimate engine, isn't it? It's the most sought after engine. I mean, yeah, there's V12s. You could go silly and get yourself a V12, but I think that's one step too far. I'm happy at the V8, you know. I mean, if you're American watching this, or Australian, you know, or South African, V8s, you know, V8 is the engine to have if you're a muscle car fan, you know, V8. I've always wanted a V8, and this particular make and model of car I want, they only ever made them with a V8. They didn't make them with anything other than a V8 engine. And that's the only hint I'm giving. I'm not giving any other information away other than that. And it is a car I am going to be getting. I keep looking at them all the time. But in order to get one, I really need to clear some space. Because, as you know, I've got 8 cars currently. 8 cars. 8, which is just ridiculous. I've got my Nova GSi. I've got my Cavalier Mark II convertible. I've got my Mark III Cavalier, which I've been talking about. I've got my Astra twin top convertible. I've got my Opel Manta. I've got my Vectra GSi Saloon. I've got my Mk1 Cavalier. And then I've got Owen, my gold Mark II Cavalier, my daily driver. That's 8 cars. And something's got to give. Something has got to give. I've actually, just before I started recording this video, I've been looking around my Vectra because we had some really strong wind last night, really strong storms, and it's under a cover, and the cover had blown off and uncovered all the back end of the car because the strap that goes round underneath and clips had snapped. So I looked out my bedroom window this morning, and the Vectra was sat there uncovered apart from the front of the car, which was still covered, but it just like flown up over the car and onto the ground at the side. So I've just been out. And while I was looking, I had another look round the back end, and I had another little look round the back arches, and back arch on the driver's side is starting to get quite crusty. Where I thought it was only surface rust, it is actually starting to go all the way through. I've felt round underneath, felt the bit which I know needs welding on the inner sill, right round on the underneath of the car, and that does feel a bit crusty. And I am now thinking to myself, my Vectra, I might just put it up for sale. I might just put it up for sale as it is, as a project, because it'll clear a space and just get it gone. It's one less car to worry about. The V6 does sound amazing, and that's the problem. The V6 is such a good sounding engine. You know, you start it up, like I did in that previous video. If you've seen that video, if you've not, go through the channel and just see back a couple of videos, and you'll see where I started the Vectra up. The V6 is sweet. It sounds amazing. It pulls really nice. The car actually drives lovely. But I just look at everything I've got, and I ain't really got the time. And this is the problem, because I want to really crack on and get my Nova sorted, and all the other cars. But I really want to try and focus on the Nova. I still want to do my Cav convertible. I know some of my friends have said, why don't you just get rid of Cav convertible? It's a rubbish old Cavalier convertible. But I really like them. I've always liked Cav convertibles, and I wanted one for years. So I've got one, and I don't want to let it go. I know it's just an old crappy Cavalier convertible in some people's eyes, but I really like them. I really like them. I like the fact that it's a manual roof. You know, you just undo a couple of clips, bit of Velcro, a couple of buttons, fold it down. There's no electronics, there's no motors, there's no hydraulics to go wrong like there is on the twin top and the Bertone soft tops with the electric roof. It's nice and simple, so I do want to keep that. The Manta, I've ummed and ahed about the Manta whether I sell it, but then again, I always wanted a Manta. I've wanted a Manta since I were a kid, and now I've got one. All right, it's not a GT exclusive coupe, which would be my ideal, or even a 400 would even be my super ideal, but they're like 70, 80, 90 grand for a proper original 400, you know, they're crazy money. But, you know, it's a hatchback 1.8 carb Bertone, which is obviously far from what I actually really wanted, but it's still a lovely car. It's still a lovely car, and it's in really good condition. My Astra twin top, which I've just mentioned, I am getting that sold, so that one will be gone. That one will be gone. So if I get rid of the Vectra, I get rid of the Astra, that's 2 gone. That will mean then that I don't have any cars parked on the road outside my house. It means that every car I own can be on the road. Can be on the driveway, because my Nova and my Cav convertible are in the garage. The mk3 Cavalier, the twin top, the Manta and the Vectra are currently on my drive, or it's not really a drive, it's a bit of a garden really, that's just parked on the garden. And then Owen and my mk1 Cavalier are parked on the road, which is not ideal. I want to get 2 gone so that everything can at least be parked on the front of the house, so there's nothing on the road. But then I want to get rid of a 3rd one, because when I want to buy this car that's got the V8, I want to have space, so obviously it can go on the drive and there's still be nothing parked on the road. So then that puts me in a conundrum. It puts me in a conundrum. So I need to get rid of 3 cars. 3. I need to get rid of 3 cars. But what 3 do I get rid of? Well, I've already said Vectra. I've already said the Astra twin top, which is my intention to get rid of anyway. So then I'm left with, well, what else do I sell? So then I think to myself, well, maybe I do sell the Mark II Cav convertible. Maybe. Or maybe I do sell the Manta after all. Maybe I do. I mean, my mate Andrew, who I bought the Manta off, he has already asked me a couple of times about selling it back to him because he kind of regrets selling it. So that could be an easy option. I'd just say, Andrew, I'm thinking of selling the Manta. Do you want to buy it back off me? So that might be an option. One of my other friends, actually, who's massively into Vauxhalls, a female friend, she's actually asked me about selling her the Manta. She's told me before, if I ever think of selling the Manta, let her know, because she'd love it. So that might be an easy solution, just sell the Manta. But then I've also thought about selling the mk1 Cavalier. But I need to get it running, I need to get it working right. I've got the problem with the wiring loom on the XE, but the problem is when I did have it running for them few days when it were running sweet, it were absolutely amazing. And I loved it. I loved it to drive, I loved the power, I loved the noise. I mean, yeah, it's very, very noisy because it's got no soundproofing. It's just got a bit of carpet in the front. It's got no sound in it at all. It's not very practical because it's got no heater, so I can't really use it at this time of year. But in the summer I could use it, but it's not even got a blower fan, so I can't even put the fan on to blow cool air. I just have to open the windows. But so it's far from practical. So then I do think about selling that. But then I always wanted a car that was from the year I was born, or very close to the year I was born. And that was registered in late 77, and I was born in January 78. So that car was brand spanking new when I was born. And I always wanted a car that was the same age as me. Always wanted a car that was the same age as me, or like a bit of a mission to get one that was the same age. And the thing is, it's MOT exempt, it's tax exempt. It costs me hardly anything to keep it because I just pay a little bit on classic car insurance every year. It's next to nothing, just over 100 quid to insure it, even with all the modifications, with the XE in it and everything. And because it was originally a 2-litre 4-cylinder, and it's still got a 2-litre 4-cylinder in it, and it's a engine from the same manufacturer within 10 years of the car's production, that's how it can still get away with being MOT exempt, before anybody starts questioning that. It's a modification done to improve performance and economy. And if you read the little small print, what things you can get away with for MOT exemption, that's one of the things you can get away with. So that's why it's MOT exempt and it's tax exempt. So it seems a bit of a no-brainer to keep that, because it don't really cost me anything to keep it. And how much would I get for it selling it? I mean, the XE, they fetch good money these days. It's got the Manta 5-speed gearbox in it, from a 1.8 actually, because you need that gearbox to fit an XE. You can't use the 5-speed box that fitted in a GTE because it won't mate up with an XE. You need the 1.8 Manta gearbox to fit a red top, because the 1.8 is an 8 valve, which is basically the same basic block as the red top. So the setup there's probably worth 1,500 quid straight away. Then the car itself, I'd like to think it were probably worth 4 grand, maybe. I might get about 4 grand for it. I don't know. I'd be guessing. Vectra, I might get $1,000 to 1,500 quid for it. I mean, yeah, it does need work on the chassis. It needs some welding. It needs a rear spring. Needs some bits of paintwork here and there. Obviously, the back arches are going to need sorting. One is a bit worse than I thought it was. It's got a bubble of rust on the front of the bonnet. So it's going to need... And the other thing is, it is quite high mileage. It's done like 162,000 miles, which is low mileage for the age. I mean, I had a Ford Focus traded in yesterday, which were a 12 plate with 164,000 miles on it. So that were a 12 plate car, 12-year-old. And that got more mileage than my Vectra, which is 24 years old. It was registered in 2000, so it's 24-year-old. So the mileage is actually not bad for its age, but compared to other Vectras which are worth decent money, it is actually relatively higher mileage. So I might get 1,000 for it, maybe 1,500. You know, to be honest, I think if somebody came along wanting to buy it tomorrow with, say, 1,200 quid and say, here you go, Rich, there's 1,200 quid, I'll take your Vectra off your hands, I'd probably snap their hand off and say, take it, it's yours. 1,200 quid, there you go, it's gone. Then you think about the value of my other cars. Well, like I said, my Mark 1, maybe 4 grand. I'd probably put it on bidding on eBay if I were going to sell it, or maybe on Car and Classic, put it on Car and Classic bidding, try and get some money on there, get people bidding on it. I don't know. Mark 2 Cav convertible, probably not a great deal. If I got it on the road and MOT'd, I might, again, maybe 1,500 quid as it stands. I'd sell it probably with original interior at that. I wouldn't sell it with the leather interior that's in it now. The leather interior that's in it now, I haven't released to you guys yet, but it is something that is unique. There's no other Mark 2 Cavalier on the planet with that same interior. I'm pretty confident it's unique. It is leather, but it's not Calibra leather. It's something very different. And that's another reason why I've been umming and ahhing about selling it or keeping it, because of the unique interior. But the unique interior, I could take out, put the original interior back in. I have even, believe it or not, thought about selling the Nova. Now, how much could I get for that if I did sell it? Because I keep thinking to myself, if I do the work myself, how good a quality is the work going to be? And would I rather sell it to somebody who's got the money to throw at it to do a proper restoration on it, give it the proper restoration that it probably deserves? I mean, I was talking to a mate the other day and I said, look, I could chuck 10 grand at it, send it to a professional body shop and get them to do the inner and outer back arches, the sills, the rear panel, the repairs in the boot floor, the repairs on the front strut tops and the front panel, and a full respray. By the time you're done, it could be 15 grand that it takes to do it. You know, for me to pay somebody to do it. It might not be that much, but if I did it myself, it might only be $1,000 or a couple of grand to get it roadworthy. Probably not even that really, to get it roadworthy, probably only a few £100. And then I could sell it as an MOT'd roadworthy GSi, and then somebody could buy it and drive it and enjoy it, or I could drive it and enjoy it myself. I don't know. Again, I think if somebody came along with a good enough offer, and it would have to be a good offer to make it worth my while, then I might sell it. But it would probably have to be at least 10 grand for me to even consider selling it. Because with a fresh MOT on the road, it'd probably fetch 12 to 15 these days. And if it only costs me a few £100 to get it to that stage, then I may as well do it myself and then sell it as an MOT Nova for a lot more money. You know what I mean? The fact is though, it's that little and it takes up that little space at the back of my garage. It's not like I'm desperate to sell it. And it's not like I'm desperate for the money either. Because this car that I'm looking at buying with a V8, I've got the money sat there in the bank. I could go and buy one tomorrow. But it's not the money that's an issue. I'm not looking to sell my cars because I need to sell them to get the money to buy the car I want. I don't need to. It's all about getting the space. So I am waffling anyway. Sorry guys, I am waffling. So this video was going to be about the Mark 3 Cavalier, but I think what I'm going to have to do now is make the Mark 3 Cavalier video a totally different video. So, sorry about that. So you're going to have to stick around and you're going to have to wait. And I'm going to do the Mark 3 Cavalier after I've done this one. So I'm going to upload this video, guys. And then I'm going to do my video on the Mark 3. So stick around for that. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, please, if you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. I want to get them numbers up. I want to get to that 1,000 subs, 1,500 subs. And please also share my videos. You know, if you're on Vauxhall forums or Vauxhall groups, or you've got friends who are into old Vauxhalls and stuff, please share my videos because that's the best way to grow the channel. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Laters.